Hey teachers, instructional guide for primary 3, term 2, week 7. All right, this week we're going to start with fractions. In total, there are 3 books. The third book is on word problem for the previous topic, okay, multiplication. So that one will not be assigned in homework will not be assigned for the booklet. I will tell you more about it in a bit, okay? So we're going to start off with equivalent fractions. A good thing to start the lesson is to do a quick recap of what fractions is about, because it's been a while since they do it. So for example, if they see this fraction here, it actually means 3 out of 5 parts, right? 3 out of 5 parts. Now, what is 3 out of 5 parts? You might want to quickly, do a quick one. 3 out of 5 parts, if you draw 5 equal parts here. Okay, 3 out of 5 parts will be referring to this portion, right? 3 out of 5 parts. Okay, so where 3 is a numerator and 5 is a denominator, right? Or you can call it 3/5. Okay, so that's a quick recap of fractions. Now, what they're learning today is the idea of equivalent fractions. If you look at illustration here, this is 1 out of 2 parts, half. This is 4 out of 4. This is 2 out of 4 parts. And this is 3 out of 6 parts. Now, one thing they have in common is although the numerator and denominator are different, but they are actually the same. They are equivalent fractions, right? If students are able to see this, right, ask them to look at the brown parts, right? It's quite clear that the size is equal. So can 8 half of the cake is also the same as 2 out of 4 of the cake, and is also known as 3 out of 6 of cake. It is really a matter of how many parts the cake is cut into, but the portion is the same, right? So we say that 1 half, 2 quarter, and 3/6, they are equivalent fractions. And then they can actually look at this from a number line as well. So from 0 to 1 whole, right? All these are 0 to 1 whole. If you break up the number lines into different parts, so in this first one is break up into 4 parts. All right, second one is broke up in 8 parts, and then the third one is broke up in 12 parts. You'll see that 1 out of 4 is the same as 2 out of 8, right? It's the same as 3 out of 12. All right, another similarity here will be 2 out of 4, 4 out of 8, and 6 out of 12. And the other one, 3 out of 4, 6 out of 8, and 9 out of 12. And of course, 4 out of 4, 8 out of 8, and 12 out of 12, which is 1 whole. And 0 is the same parts as well. Okay, so hence, note they can look at the equivalent of fractions from a number line. Now, what if there is no number line, right? How do they find the equivalent fraction? Okay, so simple. They can multiply, right? So for example, let's take a look at 1/3 here, right? So they can do them times table from, not from 1, right? Because 1 will give you the same, they can go for 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So if you multiply the numerator by 2, denominator you multiply by 2 as well, right? And then the answer will be 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, so it is the same, right? Now, what if you multiply again by 2? Right, so just remember that when you multiply the numerator by one number, you must multiply it by the same number, right? So you get 4 out of 12. Right, 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 times 6 equals 12. All right, so 1/3, 2 out of 6, 4 out of 12, they are equivalent. Okay, so we can get them to quickly do the guided practice. For this guided practice is quite easy. So if, for example, half, right, they can just get a ruler and draw the line down, right, to see which are the equivalent fractions. Okay, right, they can get a ruler and just draw the line now, draw the line to see where are the fractions. Right, use that the ways. What about 2/3? 2/3 is 1/3, 2/3, 2/3 is here. Get a ruler, right, and then so the equivalent fractions would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, let me see here. 3, 2, 3. Okay. I don't have a ruler here, so it'll be over here, this portion. Right, so 1/3 is the same as 3 out of 9, and it's the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same as let's see, 2/3, 8 out of 12 as well. Okay, so get them a ruler to do this. All right, and then get them complete all these. These would be quite easy. So they can actually rely on pictures here. 1 out of 5 is the same as 2 out of 10. All right, so what about denominator, right? So 2 out of 3 is equals to 4 parts out of total is 6 parts. Okay, get them to do this. Continue. I think this should be quite easy for them to do. Occasionally you might want to guide them along. Now, when we get to this part, this is where we start to ask them, okay, now, without looking at the figures, use the multiplication way. So here you have 1 out of 4, and here you have blank, right? Something out of 12. So you can actually work on based on the denominator. Now ask them, right? So 4 times which number equals to 12? All right, multiplication. 4 times 3 equals to 12. So that means for numerator, they got to do the same, which is multiply by, if the denominator is multiplied by 3, numerator you must multiply by 3 as well. So that's 3 out of 12. Okay, so get them to do this question. This one requires a bit more practice, right? Same thing. Get them to do this, and after that, let's see, just 2a, right? To remind them that 2/4 is actually known as 2/4, so that they can do the rest as homework. Okay, 2a, and then 4a and 4b, get them to do on their own. By now, they should be able to do the multiplication method. Okay. Okay. Make sure that you get them to draw the arrows, right? So that will help them out a bit. And then 5a, list 5 equivalent fractions. So this is basically just going down times table, times 2, times 3, and the next one will be times 4, right? And so on. And then times 5, times 6 if they're further on. This one they have to do on their own. So same thing, use the method, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6. Right? Now for this question, just get them to do one, right? Ask them, so what method should I use? My multiplication. So they can try times 2. If multiply by 2, you'll get 2 out of 4. Right? And is there a 2 out of 4 here? There isn't. So what do? They now multiply by 3. Right? And if you multiply by 3, they'll get 3 out of 6. That's how they get answer here. Right? So make sure you teach at least, them to do at least one here, so that they can do the rest at home. Okay, 7a, quickly go through, right? Color 1/4 of figure. So to do this, ask them about the equivalent fractions, right? So 1/4. Now, the figure here has how many parts? 8 parts. Right? So it's multiplied by 2. So 1 times 2. Right, 2 out of 8. So they need to sheet 2 parts there. Okay? And last question, question 8. Hadi brought 2 cakes from bakery. Right? So this one is quite interesting to do. So Hadi says 1/4 of a cake is equivalent to 2/8 of cake. Now, if you get them to do comparison, if they can convert, is that equivalent? Yes, it is, right? Because times 2 times 2. So 1/4 is equivalent to 2 out of 8. But here, Hadi is actually, Linda is actually wrong, right? Linda says 1/4 is equal to 2 out of 8. Okay. Nora is correct. So ask them, right? Ask the students, right, whether you know why Nora is correct. The answer should be the size is not the same. So this is 1/4 of cake A, and 1/4 of cake B will be different. Now, how can they tell? So let's try, right? If they can't see it, cut the cake sort of into 4 parts. So this will be 1 out of 4, right? And then now here you cut into 8 parts. Okay, 8 parts. Now they should be able to see that 2 out of 8 in this case is bigger than 1 out of 4, right? Because the cake size are different. So equivalent fractions is when it is only when the whole is the same, right? The size are the same, then you can make the comparison. And that's it for booklet 1. Okay, booklet 2. For booklet 2, it's still about equivalent fractions, but now we are doing simplifying. So earlier on, we did multiplication to find the equivalent fraction. Now we can actually do dividing to find the equivalent fraction, or we call it simplifying. All right. and tell them that when it comes to fraction questions, right, it is always important, even without the question telling you to do it, you must always simplify your answer. So in this case, 4 out of 12, right? Let's forget about images and just go straight to this. 4 out of 12, how do we simplify it? Right now, we need to use division. Early on, right, when we did equivalent fraction, we used multiplication. Now we use division. So remember, multiplication, you must multiply by the same number. Division, it must be dividing by the same number as well, right? So some may find it a bit harder, but we see, okay, even number, so maybe you can try dividing by 2. Okay, if 12 divided by 2, 12 divided by 2 equals to 6. 4 divided by 2 will be equals to 2, right? And then ask them, can you continue divide? Right? If you can continue dividing. And in this case, yes, 2 out of 6 can be divided by 2 again until 1, 3. So when you get 1, 3, ask the student, can you further divide it by the same number? So when you can't, that is the simplest form. Okay. Get them to do the guided practice here. Right? You can actually forget about looking at figures. Right? Ask them to try dividing. Okay. So for this question here, you have 8 becomes 4. So ask them 8 divide by which number will give you 4? 8 divided by 2 will give you 4. So 4 divided by 2 will give you 2. All right. After that, can you further divide? Okay. This is how you do the simplest answer. Okay. Then how you do simplification. And then question 2, guided practice. Right. Get them to do a few on their own. 1A, 1B. So a lot in class will be spent on getting them to practice, okay, after you've taught them from learning to the guided practice segment. Okay, so do all those circle questions. All right, some of questions you may want to guide them along. Okay, so these questions are quite interesting, right? Ask them whether they need to simplify. So try dividing method, right? If both the numerator and denominator cannot be divided by the same number, then it is simplified. Okay, emphasize on that. Let me see this question as well, right? Get them to demonstrate one for them. Number line, get them to try it, right? Using the ruler would work. Okay, number 5, take note. Number 4 would include this page as well. Okay, and then do question 5A. First of all, they have to identify the fraction. 3 out of 9 parts, and then they simplify. Okay, question 6 as well, with explanation, and that's it. All right, next one. Now, the last booklet is on 2 steps word problem for multiplication. So for that one, okay, this is what I have in mind. Basically, just take them through guided practice, right? Do question by question. And keep this booklet for the remaining sessions to the end of the term, right? Because as and when there is enough time, okay, okay, you will, which means after the key booklets have been taught, right, I would like you to go through these questions with them, okay, step one by one, okay, starting with guided practice, and we just go do as much as possible in a sequential order. Okay, so take them through this, and you can in class you can either get them to you demonstrate if you think it's too difficult for them, or you can get them to try out the question, right, one by one. Okay, and then you guide them out after they're done with it. So that's it, right? So keep this, the third booklet. It'll be used for the remaining sessions of the term as well. That's it. Thank you.